Hello, students. We have just gone through the introduction of about Java Servlet, and now today we are going to do a program, Java Servlet program. The client will look something like this, where you are supposed to enter a username. You can see here on the screen. I'm supposed to enter a username and a password, and I'm going to select a submit button. So once I select a submit button, I need to get an output. Now, what the output, what I'm expecting is when I press the submit button, let's say I'm entering a username, some name, let's say I'm entering the username as Roji. I type the password as 1234, and I need to press submit. So when I'm pressing submit, I'm supposed to get an output. Well, let us say what is the output we're getting. We are not getting any output. It cannot be reached. The page cannot be reached. So that is the output what I'm getting. The reason is, there are a few reasons. We have not deployed the programs into the web server. That is the main reason. Or the web server is not running. We have stopped the web server. That is the main reason behind this. Okay. So before getting into that, let me ask you or tell you one thing. First, what we have is we are having a client where I'm supposed to enter a username and password. Okay, and the program what we are trying to do is the program. Let me just type it down. Create a client. The username and password is entered, is submitted, and the entered values in the HTML from the client, or client means that is a HTML file. We can also put it that way. And the values entered from the client should be displayed in the server. So that means what I'm considering here is a servlet program. Okay, the server should display the IP address of the client. That is one requirement, and the server should also display the protocol used, whether we are using HTTP, FTP, tell whatever protocol we are using, that has to be displayed. So this is you can just note it down. This is the program what we need to do. Okay, so we can see here we are having a client. So we are supposed to create a client where we are supposed to enter a username and password. So that is what here we are doing. We are supposed to enter the username in the first text box and the password in the second text box. And when we press the submit button, it has to go to the server. So the output should come to the server. The server has to display the output. Okay, fine. So let us just see how we are going to display the client, or what is the coding behind this client program. Okay, now you can just see client means I'm just using HTML file. HTML file then the text box on the creating of the the submit button. So when I press the submit button, what is happening on how it is written in the client. So that is the one which we need to learn now. Okay, so let us get into the program first. Okay, so this is the program of creating that client or HTML. So HTML body font size equals 4. Now it is getting displayed in the HTML that please enter your username and password or the heading display. And you can see here actually I am creating just a second. Yeah, I am creating two text boxes. You can see here. The first one, I am creating a text box named uname. And second, I'm creating a text box called keyword. So this is the name of the text box what I'm creating. Now, how do we know that we are creating a text box? Because when we are creating a control in the HTML, it will always, the type of the control being created will be determined by the attribute type. Type equals text and varnala. Input tag in the order, type equals text and varnala. That means I'm creating a text box. Randavate statement, type equals password and varnala. That means I'm going to create a text box, but it will be having password character. That means whatever you type, that will be displayed to you as a password character. നിങ്ങൾ 5 character press enter ചെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ 5 star ആയിട്ടായിരിക്കും display ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So this is about the client. Now let us just see what is the actual use of this form method. Form method ഇവിടെ നോക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാൻ കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്ന സംഗതി ഇവിടെ ഞാൻ കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന form method equals get. I hope you can see this. Form method equals get. Right? Form method equals get. Now, what do you mean by method? Method is an attribute of form tag. That means method equals get in how we are going to pass value to the server. Here, in this case, I'm going to pass like 2 values to the server. One is username and password. So always remember one thing. When we are going to pass only 1 or 2 values to the server, the method can be get. If I'm going to pass more than 1 value, okay, then instead of get, we have to use post. Now the next attribute is action. Action equals, you can just see here, action equals http localhost mca username. This is the one I am writing. So what do you actually mean by action? When will action work? Action will work when you press the submit button. When you press the submit button only, action will work. Okay. Now അവിടെ എന്താണ് submit press ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്? It will actually execute the server program. So let us see the explanation of this. Now we have written action equals http /localhost colon 8000/mca/username. So let us just elaborate this. Please watch carefully and listen to the explanation very carefully. Okay, let us go to the explanation part. Okay, now the one which we have to concentrate or we should understand here is that the form tag has got 2 important attributes. One is called method and the second one is called action. The method attribute determines how the data are to be passed from the client to the server. The attribute can have 2 possible values, get and post. Now, when do we use get? We use get when a fewer number of values are passed to the server. Fewer number എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വളരെ കുറച്ച് വാല്യൂസ് മാത്രം ക്ലയന്റിൽ നിന്ന് സെർവറിലോട്ട് പാസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന മെത്തേഡ് ഗെറ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും. Okay, and the values whatever I am passing to the client will be displayed in the address bar also. Next is the post method. Post method actually what it does is post method and get method almost same ആണ്, വ്യത്യാസം ഒന്നും തന്നെ ഇല്ല. Now when we use post and when we have to use post method, we'll be using the post method when there is more than 2 values are passed from the client to the server. For example, let's say you are going to fill up a online personal information form. Personal information form, it will contain your let us take in this way. It will contain your first name, last name, age, date of birth, gender, address, course, semester, college, city, etc. It goes on like that. So that means you're passing more than 2 values to the server. In that case, you have to use post. Always remember, we'll be using post only when there is more than 2 values. Okay. Now, if I'm passing value from a list box, list box combo box, multiple selections. For example, hobbies. Hobby, we have more than 2 hobbies. So, controlling multiple values pass in. The situation, use a method post. Okay, fine. Now, what do you actually mean by action method? So action method actually means this attribute of the form tag action. This attribute of the form tag determines where the data has to be passed. That is exact server address and the location within it. Adana action ennu parnayadunde attribute konde nammal udeshikkunne. Now, what do you actually mean by the action keyword? Action keyword will work, or sorry, not keyword, attribute. The whatever values has been assigned in the action attribute, that will work only when you press the submit button. Always remember, only when you press the submit button, it will work. Okay. Fine. So let us take a simple example. Yes. Here I've written localhost 8080, HTTP localhost 8080. So what do you actually mean by this? HTTP localhost 8080 means it represents the server IP address. Localhost in the server IP name, and 8000 represents the server port number. So instead of this particular localhost, you can also type an IP address of a system. Let's say I'm just writing some IP address, something like this. Only ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം നിങ്ങളുടെ സെർവർ ഏത് സിസ്റ്റത്തിലാണോ കിടക്കുന്നത് ആ സെർവർ ലൊക്കേഷന്റെ IP address അറിയാമെങ്കിൽ IP address നമുക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. Or local host. What do you mean by local host? Local host means the server is residing in the same machine where you are typing a program. നിങ്ങൾ ഇപ്പം വർക്ക് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സിസ്റ്റം തന്നെയാണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ സെർവർ എന്ന് ആണെങ്കിൽ you have to write localhost. So that means the server will be represented as localhost provided with the port number. Okay. Now the next is you have given a statement called MCA. So what is MCA? Here MCA is actually representing the virtual folder name within the server. Server the virtual folder name കൊടുക്കും. അതിന്റെ പേര് ഞാൻ MCA നമ്മൾ കൊടുത്തേ ഉള്ളൂ. The next we have a name called username. You can just see here username. What do you actually mean by username? Username means actually in the server you're executing a file. Okay, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു ക്ലയന്റ് ഉണ്ടാവും, HTML ഫയൽ ഉണ്ടാവും, പിന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് server file ഉണ്ടാവും, ഒരു Java file ഉണ്ടാവും, right? Either that can be JSP file or Java servlet. But in your case, you are executing the Java servlet. So Java servlet file will always have an extension .java. Okay, it will always have extension .java. abc.java എന്നാണെങ്കിൽ സെർവർ വെബ് സെർവറിനകത്ത് അത് അറിയപ്പെടുന്ന ഒരു പേരായിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ alias name എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So here if I'm giving it as a username means the username is actually considered as the alias name. That means this is actually representing the actual program. So it represents the alias name of the file to be executed. Okay. So that is about the form explanation. Next, when it comes to the server, we need to learn two methods, which is called doGet and doPost. There are methods used in Java Servlet where the data are accepted from the client. If the parameters are passed through get method from the client, ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്ത മാതിരി തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ഫോം ടാഗിന്റെ അകത്തെ ആട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് ആണ് മെത്തേഡ് ആൻഡ് ആക്ഷൻ. മെത്തേഡിന്റെ അവിടെ ഞാൻ ഗെറ്റ് എന്ന് കൊടുക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ സെർവ്ലെറ്റിന്റെ അകത്ത് നമ്മൾ പറയുന്ന വാല്യൂ ഡു ഗെറ്റ് എന്നായിരിക്കും. Okay. Now the HTTP protocol is used to transfer the data from the client and to the from the server to the client. So in this case, if I'm using do get and do post, will be actually where you will be using to accept the data coming from the client, basically using the HTTP protocol. Okay. Now this we have already discussed in the previous class. The method mentioned above in the methods of the class HTTP servlet and class HTTP and the class HTTP servlet can be imported from the package import Java X, which we have clearly mentioned in the previous class. And do get എഴുതുന്നതിന്റെ മൊത്തം syntax എങ്ങനെയാണ്? It will be having two parameters. One is called HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. So with this, we have already discussed in the previous class. So, and also one more thing what you have to know is we are using the classes called HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. They are actually imported from the package called Java X servlet.http.star. So that has to be used in our program. So let us directly go to the program. Yes, let us go to the program. Our client already create ചെയ്തു. ഇനി ആ ക്ലയന്റ് വഴി നമ്മൾ എന്താണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്? When I press the submit button, it directly comes to this program. Right? It directly comes to the program. Since we are using the do get method in the client, we are using in the client, since we are using the get method, we are using do get method in the server. For server ആദ്യത്തെ statement നമ്മൾ കൊടുക്കുന്ന response dot content set content type. You can see here response dot get content type, which means RES response or HTTP servlet response എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസിന്റെ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റ് ആണ് RES. So HTTP servlet response is actually meant to provide a response to the client. So the statement RES, അതായത് response dot set content type HTML slash text slash HTML ന്റെ അർത്ഥം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ സെർവറിന് നമ്മൾ റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഡാറ്റയുടെ ടൈപ്പ് ഒന്ന് ടെക്സ്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ HTML ഡാറ്റ ആയിരിക്കും. So this we have already discussed in the previous class. Then whatever data I am passing from the client will be stored in the server using the statement request.get parameter uname. So I hope you remember uname. Uname is actually the name of the text box what we used in the HTML, and the keyword is the password text box what we have used in the HTML client. So HTML client in നമ്മൾ സബ്മിറ്റ് വെച്ച് സബ്മിറ്റ് പ്രസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ HTML ക്ലയന്റിന്റെ അകത്ത് യൂസർ നെയിമിലും പാസ്വേഡ് ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബോക്സിലും എൻ്റർ ചെയ്ത ഡാറ്റ it will come and store in the server, and where it will be getting stored? It will be getting stored in the name and password string. Okay, so we got the data coming from the client. Now what is the next concept? The next concept is to start the HTML part. Now when we come to the Java Servlet program, we can say that Java Servlet program is a combination of a text and HTML tag. But the HTML tag has to be given inside the Java statements. Okay. So instead of writing this as a two statement, we can also write in another way. We can also write in this way. We can just write in this way. We can write out dot incline HTML. In the same line itself, I can just write a head, because the way I can write in the HTML file, the same way I can write it here. But the only thing is that the HTML tag has to be defined inside the Java code. So after head, we give title. So I can also write title here. Okay, we can just write the statements in this way. So instead of writing this three statements together, we can also write it as a single statement. Fine. Well, after that, let's come to this particular here. This statement I am writing hello So this is one string. This much is one string, and with that string, I'm just writing the name of the variable which we have already collected, and after that we are again continuing with the rest of the HTML statement. Okay. And the same way, you can just see here, the password is also collected in the same way. Okay, so this was the scenario, this is the program. And next very important factor is that I'm using a method called get a remote host and get protocol. So this is a very important statement. Get remote host means it will actually get you the details of the, sorry, it will get you the IP address of the client. Remote host means it will get it, it will display the IP address of the client. So I can just write the so if you get the IP address of the client means you can track down the client. So ഞാനിപ്പം എന്റെ സെർവർ എവിടെ വേണമെങ്കിലും ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, സെർവർ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പം അതിലോട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ക്ലയന്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ലോകത്ത് എവിടെ വേണമെങ്കിലും ആക്കാം. Okay, so always remember one thing, you can track down the entire detail about the client. So this is what the cyber cell is doing. So get a remote host is a very important method. So if you're sending in നമ്മുടെ കേസിൽ നമ്മൾ സെയിം സിസ്റ്റം യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാരണം എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് ലോക്കൽ അഡ്രസ് അതായത് 127.0.01 മാത്രമേ കിട്ടത്തുള്ളൂ, കാരണം അത് സെയിം മെഷീനിൽ തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ക്ലയന്റും സെർവറും ഹോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Okay, the same thing if you do it in our computer lab, you will get a different IP address. നിങ്ങളെ ഒരു മെഷീനിൽ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പ്രോഗ്രാം ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു മെഷീനിൽ എഴുതുക, ക്ലയന്റ് പ്രോഗ്രാം HTML നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എവിടെ വേണമെങ്കിലും ഹോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. എവിടെ നിന്ന് ഹോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്താലും you can in the server program you will get the details about the client. Okay, so next is the get protocol. Get protocol is a method to get the protocol what the client and server is using. So since we're passing only the text methods, and to accept the text method, we use the Java method called either do get or do post. So get protocol നമുക്ക് വരാൻ പോകുന്ന HTTP ഡിസ്പ്ലേ ചെയ്ത് വരത്തുള്ളൂ, അതിന്റെ വേർഷനും ഡിസ്പ്ലേ ചെയ്ത് കാണിക്കും. So this is the simple Java servlet program. Now let us see how to run this. This is very important, and you should know how to run this because in the lab examination point of view also we need to understand this. Okay, so this is a program. I have got a Java file, servlet file, which we have seen right now. The name of the file will be one.java. Now always remember the class which contains the do get or do post method. Okay, the class which contains the do get or do post method, that class name and the program name will be same. So in this case, the name of the program will be one.java. So the name of the program will be one.java. Okay, so it is a servlet program, it is a server program, and the name of the server program is one.java. So we need to compile this program. In the case of JSP, compilation was not needed. But in the case of Java servlet, we have to compile the program. So once we compile the Java program, we'll get a class file. So that class file will be actually deployed into the Java server. So let us see how to do that. So let me save this file. Let me take this command window. Okay, so the first thing, I have to give the full path, which I hope all of you are having this because I have uploaded this batch file into your Google Classroom, so you'll get it from there. The next is to start the server. So, okay, now let us see. Let me compile the program. When I say Java C, okay, it is in the different folder. It is in the folder called one. Okay, let me compile the Java program. So when I say Java space one.java, sorry, Java C dot one.java. This is how I compile the program. Okay, there was no error. Why you have got it as an error free? Because we have already given the path. Okay, now how to run this program? We got a class file. We have got the class file. In a class file, every day in a I can say that we have a class file. We have compiled it here, and this is the class file one.class. Okay, where the arrow mark is getting displayed. Okay, so the next step is to deploy. To use that deployment wizard. So how we activate the deployment? Okay, before starting the deployment wizard, we have to start the server. So step one, what is step one? Execute the path. What's step two? Step two is start the server. So I'm starting the Java server. The command is start J2EE -verbose. Okay, the server is getting started. We'll get a message once the server is up. Yes, here it is written Java 2 server startup completed. So let me minimize this. Now I just start deploy with deploy tool. So step number 3, deploy the programs into the deployment tool. Deploy tool. Okay, so the deployment wizard has started. So let me first see the client. Client il nammal ezhudikkunnathu action il ezhudikkunna MCA and username. That means, remember, I've given the context root or the virtual folder name as MCA, and I've given the alias name as username. So what I do is, first I go to File, New Application. And isn't that any application and creative? You can save it anywhere. Anyway, I'm saving in a particular folder. I'm saving it inside my computer, D drive, Java program. And in that, I have another folder called Servlet. And inside that, I've got another folder called one. Okay. But one on the period or an application on the one and all period application creative. So it is already existing. Yes. Okay. I just go to File. I press New Web Component. You get a screen like this. Press Next. You have to give a display name. I just give us AA. Then I have to press Add. Add press please click Browse and select the folder that represents the root directory of the file content such as HTML, JSP, and GIF. We use HTML, Java Servlet file use. But HTML, JSP, and GIF files add HTML file use. So the name of the HTML file is A. I press Add. Okay, then I press Next. Now you can see I'm getting another information such as I have to select the files such as Servlet and JSP beans. Servlet എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ എക്സിക്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തെടുത്ത Java class file. അത് one.class, one.java അല്ല, അത് compile ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പം I have got a file called one.class. So that has to be added to the server. Add, I press Finish. Now you can see here the two files has been added. Okay, fine. Now I press Next. Choose the type of web component you are creating. It can be either Servlet, JSP, or no web component. So number Servlet, I press Servlet. I press Next. Servlet class file one.java. So one class file is one. If you are going for a big project, there can be more than one class. So either class on execute class in the pair select. Okay. And web component display name, I just give some name, P. Next. Again, next, now you have to give an alias name. Alias name in the run in a program the pair another web server and identify web server and Java server and identify Java pair. That's web alias name in the so other than the pair, number username nana I just give us username. It can be any name, okay? Since in my program I've written as username, the alias name is given as username. Next, I press finish. Okay. So you can see here with the alias name already served at one on the username no appear lana. In the I just go to tools menu and I press deploy application. Okay. Then a server name has to be selected. Since the server, we don't have any extra server, the server is in the same machine. So I press localhost, I press next. Context root. That is, we server create in a virtual folder. That's MCA. HTML I give MCA, I press next, I press finish. Now you can see that the deployment progress has been finished. I press OK. So now the program is ready to run. Okay, I minimize it. Now I take any web browser. Let's say I'm taking Microsoft Edge. So then run I can just write HTTP localhost, okay, 8000 virtual folder open Java 8000/ virtual folder with MCA. I just press MCA and press enter. So ninga virtual folder content a.html so I press a.html. I'll get the file. So the username entry let me write a username. I'm just writing a username as Roji. Password I'm giving it as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this is the password I'm entering. You can see here this is the password that I've entered. I press submit. So you got the result. Hello Roji, your password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And now you can see remote host. What are you getting? You are getting the IP address of the client. Okay, now the next one you are getting is HTTP. So you're getting the protocol with the version. So I'm using, I have used HTTP number use here. This automatically getting detected. And the name of the protocol what I used is HTTP and the version is 1.1. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you how the program will be executed. Now let us go to a second example. Okay, second example, I have saved it in 2. Okay, here, let us open the client. Well, here I've just created a list box. So list box I created. List box in the list box submit proceed take other server and value proceed other display the okay. If server deploy now what I'm trying to say is control list box that can be multiple selections. See, I can select multiple values. See, here I've selected instead of, we have almost 8 programming languages here, and I have selected 4. So that means I am selecting the value more than 2 values I'm getting selected. That's client method in the attribute use the value get and post. Okay, so let us see the coding of this HTML. Now you can see here, this is the coding. Form equals post. Action equals HTTP localhost post1. That is context root in the period. Program the alias name random same about that. That is not an error. You can get in. You can use in this way. Pinne adho ningal ingane use cheyanengil ningade confusion ollu aayikittum. Karanam user alias name endana koduthathu adupole thanne context root and the confusion avoid. Okay, after that I'm creating a list box. So I hope you know how to create a list box. Select and select tag which list box or combo box create India. Okay, combo box create a single selection. Combo box a multiple value avoid. We can just write in this way. Okay, so in multiple values select name combo box in the parent multiple and statement that means we can go for multiple selections. You can just try out in your laptop. So anyway, I'm not going deep into this. You all know what is this value. Aditya option APL and the value APL display value is APL and internal value is also APL. Okay. So this is the client. Now let us see how the server program looks like. Server program is very simple. Here instead of do get, I'm using do post. The reason, as I told you, we are using a list box. List box means you can send multiple entries. Okay, multiple entries to send DM. Do post use here, do get to use here, it will show you error or you may not get the output properly. Okay, now one more thing, execute the program or not execute. I just give HTTP localhost MCA. Okay, a.html. Okay, we use the method. The method what I used was get. So let me give some password. I press submit. Now you can see here address bar. Address bar. Okay, address bar. If username equals Roji and p-word equals QWEQ. I hope you can see that. This is because they are using the get method. Get method in value pass get method use. But get method in the address bar pass in a value address bar display the The same thing you can use it see if you're checking your email, you enter your username and password, you're just passing two values to the server. So when you press the submit, you can see the data in the address bar. But the encrypted data if you pass the value Roji pass the password and but mail encrypted percentage values. So here I'm not using an encrypted format. I'm not getting in. I'm actually getting the actual value being passed. Okay. Get and protocol use disadvantage on that. Pass a value address bar the display to hide that you have to go for some encryption softwares or encryption algorithms. Okay, now why I have told you is that the next thing what I'm using is the post method. Post method, if you want to pass more than two values to the server, we use the post method. Post method in the address bar in values. So post method is actually the post the method from the client is actually comparatively it is more secure. Now let us come to this program. You can see here. Here I am passing. I am accepting multiple values from the client. I have made a small mistake in your previous video. Our methods get parameters. Parameters and get parameter values. Okay, get parameter is basically used for accepting a single value, whereas get parameter values are used for accepting multiple values from a single control. I can see this method. This method is used to accept multiple values from a single control. So since it is accepting multiple values, it cannot be stored in a variable. And that is the reason why I use the array as the variable. Topics and actually array. Okay, and the values, whatever I accepted, is actually displayed through a for loop. So this logic, I don't think I need it need explanation. We have already learned it in your previous semester, and you can also just go through it. Okay, the program will be sent to you. You can just execute that program. Okay, now let us see how to execute this particular program, and let us see the output. Okay, so let me, there is already one program running, so I just undeploy it. This is what we have to do. You should not close the program directly. Then I go to File, Close. In a application create, I just go to File, New Application. Two and a folder. So the pairing and two already created it. I'm just overwriting it. Okay, I have created an application called two. I've created an application called two. I'm going to File, New Web Component. Next, I give any display name, add. So the name of the first I have to add the HTML. Next, then I have to add the servlet file. The servlet is sorry, this is not the file. I'll go to the wrong file. Instead of one, it is so it is two. Okay, HTML. It is a.html. Next, I have to select the Java servlet. That is again in the folder 2. So it is 2.class. Finish. Next, okay, servlet. Next, I select the name. Another component name, I just give double P. Next. I hope you remember we have given only one name. Alias name of post one. I just give post one. Press next. Okay, go to finish. So what I have to do next? I have to go to Tools menu. I select Deploy Application. The server name is localhost. I press next. Context root is also post one. Next, finish. So we have finished it. So I say that the application has been deployed. Now let us take the browser. I give HTTP localhost 800 post one enana context root in the pair. That is virtual folder. So our virtual folder in the HTML file original.var and the system file. So, and it also shows the size of the file and the date created. It has been created in the 15th August. Okay, a.html. Let me select more than 2 files. So 4 values. I'm selecting 4 values. I press submit selection. Yes, I'm getting the output. Selected 4 topics, right? APL, basic, C++, Flipper. I just go back, and what I do is I go for all the I select all the values. Press submit button. Now you can see the difference. Now you have selected 7 topics: APL, basic, C++, Flipper, Java, Pascal, Visual Basic. Okay. Confusion when you write in your own way, you can put in different line. Okay, just try it out. So, dear students, this was a simple introduction of how to write and execute a Java server program. Okay, so remaining we'll see it in the next class. Okay, thank you very much.